Good afternoon. I call to order the regular board meeting, GCC board meeting, 9/13/2022 at 4:45 p.m. Welcome, everyone. It is so good to see you. Roll call. Mr. Mark Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Harry Block.
Here.
Mr. Bruce Mandrick.
Present.
Mr. Jack Turner.
Here.
And Lily Campbell, all board members present and accounted for. Thank you. And now I will entertain a motion for SB 361 board resolution. And it just simply states that we are following the guidelines as mandated by the Brown Act as we conduct our meetings virtually. And so, board, I will need a motion saying that we are adhering to SB 361.
Move approval of the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, thank you, Mr. Bruce. Mr. Mandrick. Okay, roll call. Mark Anderson.
Yes.
Harry Block.
Yes.
Bruce Mandrick.
Yes.
Jack Turner.
Yes.
And Lily Campbell, yes. So SB 361, as usual, has passed unanimously. And now, again, I want to thank all of you who are here tonight. It's so good to see so many faces from HLA and Futures, our cabinet members and our board members, all of the cabinet executive directors. Thank you. And of course, Ms. O'Mara, who will be having most of the meeting today. Thank you for being here. We are so glad to see everyone. And to those of you who are with us virtually, thank you for giving us your time and watching us and sharing the board meeting with us. And so with that, do we have public comments, Mr. Sample?
Madam President, there's no public comments tonight.
No public comments. Thank you. And now we're moving to Dr. Peterson. Do you have a superintendent's update, or did you give us all just a few days ago?
I have just a few things. There's always plenty to be shared with the board, but just a few quick things because we did just have our retreat. We do want to update you that our COVID numbers continue to decrease in both Sacramento and Yolo County. And we're all quite excited today that the governor and CDPH have come out with a new health order that will rescind the necessity to have vaccine verification and or weekly testing for employees. So great sigh of relief in the GCC central office, far less staff and COVID testing and tracking, etc. So starting Monday, we will not be requiring our unvaccinated employees to undergo weekly COVID-19 testing, which will, again, I know come as a relief to many. So other than that, today I had the opportunity to visit all of our CCCS campuses, and Director John Campbell took me around. I was able to see our CCS 9 through 12 program here on the base. And by the way, great new carpets that we've put in place finally after a very long time, and some really great programs going on there while I was there. They're doing a great job of orientating their students, and certainly saw a lot of pods of students and teachers working together, and it was definitely a great job. I want to affirm Michelle Jordan for that. I saw the K-8 program over at the Campus Verdes campus. It's just looking pretty sharp. Done a lot of new things there with, we have some great teachers who have decorated their classrooms, and the classrooms were all incredibly engaged. I got to sign lots of social contracts and really see a turnaround in that program, and a lot of excellence and high expectations at work. And then the other thing that I got to do was to go to the Sacramento Youth Center, which the board may not be as familiar with, but it's in Del Paso. We have a partnership there, and our own Christina Roberts is the person who's working there, who's been with us for some time. And it is an amazing facility and an amazing partnership. I would tell you, I kept walking around that building going, what else is in here? There's a theater, there's a music, I don't know the right word, but a place where they make rap music and do some other visual and performing arts. There's a cafe where they're teaching kids to make meals and food. And I mean, I haven't even begun to touch on it. There was just so many little corners and places. So hopefully at some point we can get you guys out to see it. It's a great partnership that we have there. Also want to inform you that on Friday we were at Sac State all day. We were not taking college classes. We were at the, I believe we called it the alumni room in the student union. And I definitely want to thank CSU's president, Dr. Nelson, who hosted us and allowed us to have that opportunity, but also really want to affirm just our central office staff. They showed up with enthusiasm and engagement, and we had a great time and some really good learning there, and way too many cookies, I must say, really good cookies. But also want to report that Omira and Jason Sample and I met with some information from Keenan, who has been our long-term partner for our benefits offerings. We have a proposal later for you tonight that I know that you're going to be excited about in terms of increasing the employer contribution rates towards our various medical, health, dental, and vision, so that our employees can have good offerings for coverage. I know the board will be pleased to hear more about that later. Last but not least, a few of us are going to the AXA Women's Leadership Forum, which has been an annual event. Of course, last year was Zoom, and it's nice to be back in person this coming year. I know Ms. Omira and Dr. Gold and I all plan to go. I've been working on a presentation that I'm co-presenting with one of my university students on the habits that hold women back. So kind of excited about that as well. So that's my short but sweet, I hope, update, Madam President.
Thank you so very, very much. Board members, any comments, any questions? And as usual, we appreciate an update of what's going on, and congratulations to the women who are going to the women leadership. I momentarily thought about it, but I didn't. Anything but thank you. All right. So with that, we are going to move into item 5, which will be the study session. YCBC contract impact study sessions. Madam Superintendent, would you like to introduce that? Bring it
Thank
in.
you. Yes. So at a previous board meeting, we had a few contracts that the board approved, and we appreciate that on behalf of our RDP, or Rancho Del Paso site. But there was a request for more information, and the site is very excited tonight to bring you a little more information to help you understand the need for those 2 contracts. We have with us tonight Director Aaron Marston, as well as Campus Principal Mr. Lilavano and Mr. Coonan. And so I will let Dr. Marston take us into the study session.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to say thank you for allowing us this opportunity to present to you why yoga is so important to the work that we're doing here at the Rancho Del Paso school site. So this here is just an image that I thought would kind of bring everything together. Yoga is more than just the word yoga. It's all these things together. And Harvard Medical School in 2016 published a study, and it was all about yoga for school-age children. And it pretty much said that what yoga does is it improves the focus, the memory, the self-esteem, academic performance, and classroom behavior of students. So what it does for us here at the Rancho Del Paso site, it adds a lot of value to the program that we offer to our students, to our staff, and to our families. So you guys have been hearing a lot about the MTSS and social emotional learning. Yoga does a lot, and you will hear later on some quotes from students about how yoga adds to their social emotional tool belt and how they can help themselves self-regulate. We get the privilege of having specially trained staff on our campus to support the yoga and the program that we are implementing here on our school campus. It also supports with learning loss mitigation. It supports our teachers with trauma-informed practices and how to support kids in the classroom. It's aligned to the PE standards for California, And then if there's anyone who needs any sort of accommodations, we are always open and willing to make any accommodations for the yoga program that we have here. So I kind of wanted to show you what a week looks like at our campus. So you can see that the YCBC, which is You Cannot Be Contained, which is Mr. Christian's yoga group, you can see that we have them on our school site full days for 4 days a week. And then Thursday, they're here from 8:30 to 12:30. So they're very integrated in the work that we're doing, and we have them all over our school campus. So for you to hear more about some of the work that they're doing with our school campuses, I would like to now take this opportunity to turn it over to Mr. Luevano, the principal over at Futures High School. Mr. Luevano.
Thank you, Dr. Marson. Good evening, board. Thanks for having us. So here at Futures, we have Christian provide us a few things. I think some things that mentioned from Dr. Marson, one of the most important part I feel is that's impacted our students the most has been the SEL support. Christian has been able to bring things to our students, to our staff, and provide different strategies that we can use with our students just to help them with their everyday stress and anxiety that I think the last couple of years have brought to them. And we're starting to see more and more of that. And we do everything that we can to help provide and support them as well. And Christian does a great job with some of the things he does for us at Futures. Logistically here, you can just see that, overall cost of things for per week is just a little under $4 per student. And he brings so much already. So just to give you guys an idea of what he does here at school. Next, there you go. So with our PE class, this is something that started last year. He was able to drop into our classrooms once, twice a week to give the students some different perspective on fitness, just different perspective on just mindfulness and lifetime long fitness type activities. This year, he services both PE classes, like I said, once or twice a week. And as you can see that it's roughly 315 kids, and that's almost about 3/4 of our students here at Futures. Friday classes, what he's been doing as a request by teachers is that he brings in him and someone from his group, drop-ins in the classrooms where he spends 15-20 minutes or so working on different strategies, empowering our teachers on the strategies that he has for mindfulness. And again, just helping overall with our students, just with anxiety and stress, and just gives them an opportunity just to kind of zone out. He services usually 25 students per class, roughly around 40 plus the teachers as well. Something that has been new this year that I have asked Christian to take part of have been our sports program, clubs, and our PD. So with our sports, already with what our students are going through as far as school goes, they have started to kind of get themselves involved with sports. And we love to see that, but we also see that kind of stress to perform, to do well has brought on them. And we use Christian for conditioning side of it, but also just for the mindful side of it. And what he's done with them so far has been great. It's been giving them just a different outlet to just continuously just grow as an athlete and as a person. His club, so I asked him to be involved with clubs, and one of the ones that he decided to bring was his partner acrobatics, which is really cool. What that is that he has students work together to work on different yoga poses that need two people to work together and to build teamwork. And it's taking off. I think he had about 50 signups. He's only going to take about 20-25 to start, and then we'll see how we can grow him in that club. And then lastly, just our mindfulness dime at PD every other Friday, 15 minutes empowering our teachers, working with our staff, letting our staff decompress for just a few minutes and just kind of forget about all the other stresses they may have. And our teachers have really bought into it and have really enjoyed his presence there. What you'll see next are a couple of pictures. At the top right, you'll see our boys soccer team just working on centered, keeping them calm, just giving different perspective on their competitive and how they are able to use what they learn, just being centered with themselves, to take that out into competition. And then in the bottom left, you'll see a PE class in the works, working on mindfulness movement. I wanted to read a couple quotes that I feel like are important to know that the impact that the students are having with mindfulness. It just brings peace whenever you start overthinking things, to have a moment with yourself to just breathe. I use the breath work we learn, especially during volleyball games or even during class. It gets my mindset back on track and it helps me out a lot. Mindfulness time, where I get to just relax, forget about everything that I have to do and be able to just take 1 minute for myself and be able to calm down and relieve the stress that I have. And I've seen that it has been helping. If I'm ever stressed out or worried about how much homework I'm having, I just take a minute, relax, and forget about everything. Just give myself 1 minute. It really does help, and I'm able to get back on track and continue doing my work. And you can see that the impact that these students look at are most likely just that moment in time to just relax and give themselves back to center, get them to realize that, okay, I'm good. Here's what I can do next to kind of keep moving forward. And again, I can't stress the amount of support that he brings for our students. And with that, I'm sending it right back to Dr. Marston.
Thank you, Mr. Luevenel. And it's really great to see the yoga program going into the high school. So when our students move from HLA to Futures, they have the consistency with the yoga program and the mindfulness time. So with that, I'm going to actually turn it over to Mr. Coonan to tell you more about the work that's done here at Higher Learning Academy. Mr. Coonan.
Thank you, Dr. Marston. Good evening, board members. It's a pleasure to speak with you all this evening. So here at HLA, we have been working with Mr. Christian with YCBC for a number of years. We are really proud that we are able to get our students this service on a weekly basis. So every single one of our 532 HLA students gets time each week with either Mr. Christian or with one of his trained staff members. Just keeping in mind that that includes his insurance, his staffing, the materials that he provides. And we also have rolled into this contract, which was done as a separate contract last year, but this year we also have built into the same contract our family yoga nights, which actually we have our first one tomorrow evening. And I'm officially extending an invitation here to all of our board members and anyone else from the GCC who would like to stop by. It's tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. You can come and just kind of see what we do and what family yoga night looks like. If you'd like to participate, we would love that too. You can bring your own yoga mat or we can provide one for you. All right, so what Mr. Christian and his company provides for us, the main thing is the mindfulness classes, which I just talked about, right? Seeing every single one of our students once a week so that they get those breathing exercises, the mindfulness exercises, the poses, and really work on those SEL skills that we talked about. Another addition that Mr. Christian brings to us is he works directly with our staff during PDs. So every other PD staff meeting, Mr. Christian will come in just for about 5 or 10 minutes and do some different SEL and breathing exercises with our staff. And that has a couple of benefits. First, it gets us ready for challenging PD and learning at the end of a busy week, right? Because we have these staff meetings on our early release Fridays. But he's also modeling strategies that teachers can take back to their class. So teachers get to participate in that, and then they can go back to their class the next week. And if they notice kids are coming in from recess, they've got a lot of energy, they need a few calming breaths to get ready for whatever the next activity is, they can start to put those skills, the teachers can start to put those skills into use in their classrooms as well. And then, like I mentioned, our family yoga nights, we have them. We've got 5 on the calendar for this year, and it's something that our families love. We're proud to have extended that to all of RDP this year. So it started as an HLA event last year, and now it's open to all of RDP, and we've increased the capacity a little bit. We feed everybody. It's just a great community building event. And here's a few quotes. You can see how much support there is here at HLA for yoga and mindfulness. Ms. Thomas, our third grade teacher that a lot of you probably know, she's been a rock star with us for so long, gave us a quote there. I also really love this quote in the bottom left from a 7th grade student. I really like stretching my body and getting a feel of relief. Afterwards, I just feel better. Sometimes when I get home, I can do that after football practice, doing the breathing and yoga moves. So this is just so cool for me to see because, I mean, what do we want with our learning and our curriculum, right? We want students to be able to transfer that knowledge, to apply that knowledge. And we can see here that kids are doing that. They're taking what they're learning in these mindfulness classes and they're applying it to other areas of their life, right? When they're not even here with us in school. So that's just something that we're really proud to see. And the pictures too, I wanted to point out at the bottom left, that is one of our family yoga nights. So that's what it looks like in our gym with parents, grandparents, little ones. Sometimes we've got kids that are 2, 3 years old out there doing yoga poses with their parents. So that's a really fun event. I encourage you all to stop by. And bottom right is Miss Gabby. Miss Gabby is one of Christian's staff who's been just really consistent with us for over a year now, working with our elementary school. And she's just been amazing. It's not easy to walk in. This is her with a kindergarten class, right? Not easy to wrangle those kinders, but she does an amazing job. You can see them there working on being still. Like Mr. Christian says, being still is a skill like anything else. You have to practice it, right? And that's one of the things that they practice. So thank you for this opportunity to talk a little bit more about our yoga and mindfulness. And with that, I will throw it back to Dr. Marston.
Thank you, Mr. Coonan. Yeah, we are just really excited about this program. It has benefited our students leaps and bounds above what you're even seeing here today. And we're always looking for providers to help us do the work and do the work more efficiently. And we're really happy to have found this work with Mr. Christian, and we continue to partner with him. So with that, I would like to open it up to any board questions.
Yes, Jack, Mr. Turner, and then Mark.
Yes, impressive. I really, as expected, it really covers a very, very broad area, certainly more than the traditional term yoga has. I would just suggest you maybe rename it Physical Education 10 or something like that, which covers aerobics, mindfulness, and lifelong fitness, because it really covers a lot more than the traditional definition, I think, of yoga.
Thank you, Jack. Mark?
Also, I wanted to compliment you all for the great presentation, for further explanation of what you do. I wanted to ask, do you see that this helps in classroom management with your teachers? Are they able to utilize some of these skills for that as well?
Absolutely. It helps the teachers, and then it also helps the students self-regulate as well. I've had students that have come into the office, something has happened, whether they got into a verbal altercation with the student or they got in trouble for something, and they come in and you can see that they're escalated. And I just have to say, it's time for you to take a mindful minute. And they know exactly what that means. And they do the belly breaths and they get their brain refocused to where they're not in that reptilian brain anymore. They're now thinking clearly, and we're able to have a more effective conversation to help them work through whatever the issue is so we can get them back to class quickly. So it has significantly decreased time in the office. And then it also does help the teachers with the classroom management. Some of our teachers have a calm down area in their classroom, and students know to go there and know that that's where you do the mindful breaths or the mindful minute.
Thank you. Thank you, Aaron.
You're welcome.
I want to go back to Jack's question, because that was one of the things that I had written to myself, Jack. When we hear yoga, we think of, exercise with the mats and what have you. And I was also wondering, is there another name for it that just doesn't say yoga? I don't know if by law it has to be that, or if, as Jack stated, can it be something else called that does all of the things, the SEL and all of that. So
if I could step in, the business has its own business name. We cannot change the name of the business. And as you see, no one is trying to hide the various components that are provided. All the things that we had this fine group mention to you are all the things that are provided. And I also believe that we want to be very straightforward that part of what they're providing is yoga. And yes, there's mindfulness. Yes, there's SEL. Yes, it's tied to our MTSS work. Yes, you know, the mindfulness, the centering, all that's there, but there's also yoga. And it isn't a course in the day, as you saw, it's integrated into everything. So it doesn't need a course name because that's not what it is, right? It's services, it's tools and services integrated throughout the day. And we understand your concerns and certainly we will take into account, you know, there is some mixed feelings about yoga, but I don't think it serves us to not be clear about what we are doing.
And I don't think we were trying to disguise the fact of yoga, but just trying to make sure that it encompasses all of the things that, the list of things that we saw that it does. And with the PE, with the mindfulness and having the ability to retrack and regroup yourself, you know. And I was also with the high school, because this is just the second year or the first year for high school.
I believe it's the second.
I believe it's the second year.
Mhm.
And you can see a big difference. Somebody asked about the discipline and all of those. And can you really see that it has made a big difference with Futures high school students? Anybody?
Is that a question?
Yes.
Mr. Loebano?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's great about that is that Christian has been, when he's been able to step into PDs and he's been able to step into teachers' classrooms, he's been teaching the teachers on how to, you know, de-escalate certain situations. Some teachers have incorporated their daily routine, just a quick 5 minutes, just to, hey, let's take a deep breath, let's get ready to get for the day, you know, this is where we're going, but just take a minute and, you know, get centered. And he's been able to teach them that. And I can tell you that, I mean, I think one of the first things we do when we talk to students who come in, you know, a little bit upset and frustrated and maybe a little bit angry, we tell them just, hey, like Dr. Mark said, you know, do your breathing exercise, take that deep breath, relax for a minute before we start talking, because it's going to be hard to communicate if you're just going to be, you know, at a level 100 when I need you to be back down to a level 1. So, you know, to answer your question, I think it's been a great addition. Just another way for us to help our students. And it's been going in the right path, in the right direction for sure.
Yes, Mark. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Loebano.
I just want to say that I'm really pleased to see that the parents are engaged as well.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, because it's a very holistic approach. How many parents are you having attend these sessions, Danny?
It varies. Yeah, it's a RSVP. So due to COVID restrictions, we had approximately 20 last year. We've opened it up to 30, and we'll see how well that does. Yoga nights get full very quickly. So depending on how our first yoga night goes tomorrow, we'll see if we can open it up to more people. But it's 30 people total. And sometimes it is also including students. So it varies.
Okay. Yes, Jack.
Yeah, excuse me. To follow up on what Lily said, I think it certainly yoga is a component of it, but I think it's much broader than that. I certainly have no problem with yoga being in the title, but I think it should be more encompassing. And my final comment, is it open for board members to come and participate?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe they invited you tomorrow night to the parent
Absolutely.
night.
Come on out tomorrow night,
I
6
was-
o'clock here at
I was
RDP.
thinking of my other 4 colleagues, not myself, if they were interested, but I had to ask.
I will also say, Mr. Turner, that even if you don't want to come to our family yoga night, you guys are always more than welcome to come down to the campus and participate in any of the yoga classes that we're holding at that time.
I appreciate that, and I may really take you up on that.
Yes.
Of course, At my age, I'm not going to be doing too much of the aerobics, but I really I would like to see the program working. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We will be very glad to come and do some things once we're given the okay that it's all right to come out and visit. So, any other comments? I want to thank each of you for giving us your time and for adhering, coming in to share with us what the program is like, because there were some concerns, some questions. And so you have answered our questions tonight, and we thank you very, very much so for being here with us.
We
Having
appreciate,
us.
yeah, we appreciate Team RDP. RDP is one strong, united team. Also, as administrators, they have plenty on their plate. So I'm
We
going
give
to
you
say
permission.
you have permission to take off if you so desire. Okay, thank you so much for today.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Dr. Marson. Thank you, Ms. Lovano. We really appreciate the time that you've given us tonight to answer some of our questions.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, and with that, thank you. We're now moving into item 7, our consent agenda items. And those are very brief: purchases over $30,000, adoption of the GCC Blueprint for Excellence 22-23, and resolution to reallocate income for fiscal 21-22, which is a separate. All right. So those are, and you have been able to read and understand what those consent agenda items are. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
All right,
I'll
Ms.
second
Mandrick,
it.
and a second, Mr. Turner. Are there discussions on any of the items mentioned? Any questions? All right, seeing no hands and hearing none. Roll call. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Harry Block,
Yes.
Bruce Mandrick,
Yes.
Jack Turner,
Yes.
and Lily Campbell, yes. So the consent agenda items have been approved unanimously. And now we will move into item 8, business, the 2021-22 unaudited actuals. Okay, would anyone like to bring that in, or
Yes.
just turn it? Okay.
So I definitely want to introduce, even though no introduction is necessary, our
Right.
CEO, Ms. Omaira Arena, who, as you know, is in charge of tonight's presentation on the unaudited actuals. I know she will also take the time, but I want to also affirm her team. I know that Ms. Valerie Rogers and sorry, I'm going blank. Yvonne Grazer. He was right there, Yvonne Grazer, that both of these individuals put in, along with Omaira, many long nights, weekends to get us to this moment. So definitely want to affirm her and her team. And then Ms. Omaira, I will turn it over to you.
All right, good evening, board members. Like Cindy has just acknowledged our team. This is not something I do alone. So of course, Valerie and Vaughn, our 2 administrators, and our 2 analysts, Norma Vite and Grayson Ortiz. Just want to acknowledge all the work that's put together to make this finalize the 21-22 expenditures and actuals to be able to close the books. So I'll go ahead and get started. So the background and the purpose of the unaudited actuals is that these are basically your final results. These are your financial statements for the fiscal year, and they are called unaudited because we still haven't had the auditors come in and review everything. So once it's submitted to the oversight district, then it's submitted to the County of Education and then to the California Department of Ed. And then we will have the auditors come in shortly. We actually have a meeting with them tomorrow to kind of start going over our calendar for the audit. That is submitted to the state by December 15th overall. So I'll go ahead and continue. So first thing I wanted to talk about the difference between estimated actuals, which was our last approved budget, and our budget. These are what actually happened and what materialized. at the end of the year. So between that time frame in June and July, we had the enacted budget in July. So we had some ADA protections, and there is one included. There was two provisions. There was one included in the unaudited actuals. The second one, which is the attendance yield that looks at the 3 years, that's closer to the 3 million mark. That one will be coming in January, February of 2023, but it is calculating using the 21-22, and it is really for the ADA protection. That is not included in the unaudited actuals. We have spoken to our auditors with our authorizer district here with Twin Rivers. We've been in communication with Kate over at Twin Rivers, and our previous CBO. We've kind of making sure, just because it's unprecedented, and making sure, is it something we include, not include, calculate, not calculate. So just wanted to make that really clear on what's included and what's not included. So provision 2, which is the prior of last year and current year, is reflected here with the P2 ADA and then funded with ADA provisions. So you see the 7287 increase from the ADA protection, which is the provision 2, and then what sites were affected. Obviously, the only winners in this whole situation are the classroom-based charters that we have. And so here you can see how much each one of them is getting. Okay. So I'm going to go over the revenues overall. So we have our actuals, which is where we finalize our numbers. You have the estimated actuals, which is our last approved budget. And then the variances between the two and the percentage variances. So the difference between your LCFF revenue sources from estimated and actuals is just what I explained right now. It's the 800 and odd something dollars that came from the ADA provision. The other piece, the difference there, is any adjustments from prior year. So if we had any adjustments, that's reflected in the $1 million here. For your federal grants, and then here I also mentioned that the other provision will be coming in the 22-23. So as I present 22-23 data, you will also see that information come to light. So for your federal grants, they were not fully utilized, but amounts are deferred to 22-23 and available for use for the next fiscal year. So the biggest component here is ESSER. We do estimate what we think will carry over, but we were about 130,000 off, and a lot of it is we encumber balances, we encumber expenditures or salaries that we think will still materialize, and then they don't end up materializing. So that is what this is. We can't record the revenue until we have the expenditure, and so you just see the dollars defer into the next year. We have the same thing happening in the state programs. So you have ACES, Strong Workforce, and in-person instruction that are all earned programs where you won't record the revenue until you have spent the dollars. And that, again, you see this 332 defer into the next year. On other local, we have the investment account. This is made up of the investment account, E-rate, and interest. But the biggest category here that caused this variance is the investment account and the recording of the investment account by the end of the year. So we have those. Here is a component or a pie chart of what our revenues are coming into. If you look at prior years, this federal calculation is, the percentage is usually pretty low, in the 5% mark. You see this is really large. You see the one-time dollars reflected here and also with the state. But 68% of our budget is LCFF revenue. So based on the ADA, are unduplicated, and obviously the COLA and any type of increases that are reflected on our LCFF. Okay, so now I'll go over our expenditures. Again, actuals against our last approved budget, the variances, and the percentages. So for certificated salaries, we had higher salaries due to the summer school. We were asked to implement summer school for expanded learning opportunity program. So we have a lot of staffing that was hired towards the end to be able to fulfill the summer sessions. And then for classified, we had some savings due to position vacancies that did not materialize. It's been really difficult to hire and retain some of that staff. And for our benefits, we see a savings from STRS and PERS due to the eligibility for retirement election. So subs, temps, interims, part-time, less than 20 hours are usually not eligible to be able to receive STRS and PERS. And so therefore there's some savings there. And also some position vacancies that we saw in the classified are correlated with the benefit component. Okay. And then you'll see the same table on this next slide. I just wanted for you to be able to see the numbers as I speak about the categories. So you have your books and supplies. We have some savings due to items purchased late in the year and not being delivered until July. So we still are seeing those bottleneck, on the expenditures and not getting our goods and services until, not our services, our supplies, sometimes until a couple months out. So that's a reflection of that. Services and other, we have some consultants that we were planning to have for the ELOP program. Some of those were not until July. So we had 2 sessions. A lot of sites had 2 sessions for summer. We had a session 1 and a session 2, some in June and then in July. And so some of these were actually for July and they will be reflected in the next year's actuals. For capital outlay, we have encumbered. So this 3.4 was encumbered for the project at Power In for Sava, but that is crossing over to 22-23 because it's about 85% complete. So we'll see the rest of the invoicing come through in the 22-23 year. Other outgo is a savings due to the indirect costs. So if your expenditures are down, as you can see, the majority of our expenditure lines or categories are lower, means your indirect will be less because you're charging less indirect on less expenses. So that is a direct correlation to lower expenditures. Here is a expense composition of the different categories, how much we're spending on what category. 36% is spent on certificated salaries, classified 14, benefits 17. As you can tell, that is the bulk of our budget is people. You have a lot of services and others right now with the ELOP program and a lot of consultants being hired for these additional services after school, summer, and intersession. We're seeing this increase, but it's for instruction and it's for a restricted program that is designated for this type of service. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and talk about the fund balance. We started our year with a beginning balance of 39.3 million. We had an increase here this year of 9.3. We were estimated it was going to be 6.6, but the savings between the increase in revenue and the decrease in expenditures was 2.2, which brings our fund balance up to 48.7 versus the 46 that we were anticipating. From this balance, 6.5 is restricted. So this is all your ESSER one-time dollars. And I've named a couple down here that make up this 6.5. Some of the programs that are reflected on the restricted balance. And then we also have actual ending non-spendable balances, which is the revolving cash of 6.2. I don't think that number is correct. Hold on. And then the prepaid expenditures of 708. So the revolving cash, I don't know why we missed that, but that number is not correct. I think it has an additional digit in here. So I will come back and give you guys that number. Okay, the building fund is a facility grant of 6.1 million that is received through and pass through to San Juan for the maintenance and repairs of our buildings and property where Gateway International is located. So you see the 6.1, you see that come back out. It goes directly to them. This is work that has already been completed. And so it's really just like a reimbursement to them. Summary and next steps. So in September through November 22nd, 2022, we will be doing the audit. We will be working with Gilbert and Associates to get that work, any items that they need to be able to audit our financials and give you guys a report by December. And then October 2022, we will be having or conducting budget meetings with our sites. We will be distributing carryover to them so they know how much in total they have to spend. And then there will be any adjustments to staffing changes. And then we will have any site plans, any type of things that we need to know. We will have the reflection. And then in December 2022, we will be giving you the first interim budget reflecting the information from our October meetings. And that's it. I will go ahead and entertain any questions at this point.
Okay, board members. Questions, comments? Yes, Mr. Turner, Jack.
Omar, I want to thank you again for your call yesterday and us reviewing the budget, and also for your work on it and how impressive it is for one of the most difficult budgets, I think, in education in the state of California when I look at it, and all the components that we have. I have a question. Is the state likely to start, and Cindy, maybe you know this, Jason, whatever, to start funding us significantly for summer programs?
Well, I think what you're seeing is that's what the ELOP grant is for. The ELOP grant, and it is ongoing dollars, and it is significant dollars, is for the expansion of the summer school program. So
that would be like ADA then for summer if we offer classes?
it is, correct me if I am wrong, at the moment, it is not actually going to be audited on an attendance basis. We have to offer it to everyone, and we're getting a certain dollar amount because of offering it to everyone. Ms. O'Meara, do you feel like after this first year where we're not audited, do you think they're going to go to an attendance factor as evidence to get the money, or do you think they're going to keep those two separate like they do now?
I think they will keep it separate because they're mirroring the ACES program. And just to give you an idea of how much money that is, it is $4.9 million. So we see the restricted balance of $6 million right now. 4.9 of it is ELOP. So that is why you see that big category in the services increase exponentially.
That's impressive. Just a comment, it appears our total staffing budget is now over $50 million, which in our total budget is like 2/3 of our budget, which we're kind of creeping up to look more like a traditional school district after all. The staffing costs are just going to continue to go up. I think that's just going to be the necessity of operation in the future. Thank you, Omar. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for your comments.
Jack, in every district I've been in, the staffing budget is always the biggest. If it's not at 85%, you're blessed. But normally that's about where it is with everything for staffing, about 85%. So we're getting there. We are definitely, yes.
I think Jack over time has always been surprised it's not more of the budget than what it is. So I think he's making an observation that it's getting closer to what he had always estimated maybe it was going to move towards. And I do think it is, as you said, Jack Turner, the cost of doing business, and it is the cost of competing for staff at a time of staff shortages. Yeah.
Right.
So it's definitely all of that.
Got to be competitive. So
I see you have two board members. I don't know who was first, but you have both Mark and Bruce wanting to speak, madam.
Oh, Kentucky, we'll start with Bruce and then go on to Mark is down there. I didn't see him. All right, Bruce, we'll start you and just go around.
Two things. I wanted to go back to Jack's original comment on the complexity of the job that you're doing, Elmira. In my career, I at one point was administering 2 districts, and that was a real chore. We are essentially 9 districts, and I'm constantly amazed by just the ability to get things done, and I really want to commend you for that. In terms of
Thank you, Bruce.
in terms of the discussion on the salary benefit portion of the budget, we have some real disadvantages as a charter organization in that a lot of our facilities costs are not covered by things like bonds that school districts have. So there's a lot of things that require us to put more of the budget into those kinds of things, which really puts us at a disadvantage in terms of staffing and so forth. Because if we literally can't get to 85%, or we're going to have to give up leases and things that districts have an advantage of having. So that just reflects well on our management that even with those restrictions, we can still put forward outstanding educational programs. So another commendation.
That's a great observation, because school districts have facilities funding far beyond the different very minute pots that we can access. So thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, and I've seen about less than 1% spent on capital outlay where we have 4%. So it's significantly higher for a charter than it is for a district. So,
Mark?
I was just going to ditto the comment from both Jack and Bruce about an outstanding job that you and your staff have done to pull this all together. Again, it's just managing 9 schools' budgets is incredible to me. I also wanted to compliment the principals as well as continuing to focus on growing our students, and our ADA is looking really, really strong going into this new fiscal year. So I'm very appreciative of them and all the efforts that they have placed in going on and recruiting more students for our schools.
yes, and I echo that. I've seen, many school leaders, look at ways to really outreach the community, to reach out to the community and partner with different organizations to kind of get our name out there. So yes, it's the effort of the leaders of those sites for sure.
And on behalf of the board, Ms. Amara, thank you and your staff. Thank you for taking the time to call us, asking if we had questions, and to just follow up. So we really appreciate all of the efforts. And like everybody said, it's a humongous job. So
yes,
thank you.
And then I just want to share one last thing on the slide. There was an error, and I wanted to just make sure I disclose the correct number. So the revolving cash is 1 million in there. So that's what operates our emergency check writing. And if somebody resigns, we have a certain amount of time to turn around a check. And it's not able to do it through the county office. At times it takes about a week to get a check from the county, and so this is what we use for that purpose. Okay,
Hey, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other to the good? Thank you again for your time and the report. Now we will entertain a motion to approve the unaudited actuals. Yes, Mr. Mandrick?
I will move approval of the unaudited actuals.
I
Mr.
second.
Turner, all right, it has been moved in second. Roll call. Mark Anderson,
Yes.
Harry Block,
Yes.
Bruce Mandrick,
Yes.
Jack Turner,
Yes.
Lily Campbell, yes. So the unaudited actuals have been approved unanimous with accommodations of thank you. So thank you. All right. And now we are moving to Item 12, personnel, health and other insurance benefits, plans, and employer contribution amounts.
Yeah, so I will introduce and then hand it off, but I do want to affirm Jason and Omira, who together took the point on this and really did a good job working with Keenan, who I also just want to repeat. For 20 years, Keenan has been our partner in working with us and has been a great partner, I must say, in terms of helping us in brokering our best benefit options. And so we're quite excited to bring to you an exciting proposal tonight, which will be another way that we can honor our amazing staff with additional offerings. So it's not only that we're going to ask you to make a motion to add more money to the employees' contribution so that they're more likely to get coverage. But we've come up with some offerings where everybody has the opportunity, if they choose a particular one of the 4 offerings, that they can be fully covered for medical, for vision, and for dental. So I know Ms. Omira is going to tell you a bit more about that, but we're very excited to bring this to you tonight. Ms. Omira.
All right, let me share the slide that you guys had on the on the agenda. So I want to just do some high-level highlights. Our Kaiser rates went down from prior year. So that's reflective in the newer rates starting January. So our rates changed January 1st. The Sutter rates went up slightly, but they're still lower than our Kaiser rates. Our dental rates, we ended up upgrading the ortho to cover adults. And also we added composite fillings, which was not covered. And even after those upgrades, we still have lower rates than last year. For our vision plans, for our base plan, there was no increase. So we still have the same rates as we did last year. And for our, there's a vision buy-up plan. So there's 2 vision plans. There's a base plan and then there's a vision buy-up plan. That one we changed the allowance of the frame from 24 months to 12 months. So they can upgrade their frames every year. And there was no increase also there was a slight increase for the buy-up plan, but still relatively good. We have also switched our voluntary deductions. We switched from Colonial to MetLife. They had a lot more offerings, better coverage and better rates. And so we're always looking for the best plans for our employees and making sure that they get their best bang for their buck. And so that is what we came up with some of the one-time money coming through and increases to the LCFF. There was, review to kind of see what we can offer our employees in terms of employer contributions. So currently these are employer contributions, the $660 for employee only, $1,060 for employee plus spouse, $1,018 that we were covering for employee and children, and then $1,385 employee and family. And these are monthly rates. So you take these numbers, you multiply that by 12, and that's what we contribute towards each individual's plan. Our proposed contributions are as follows, which show you here what the increase is to each individual employee, depending on what plan they have, and then annually, how much are they getting more increase. So it's the monthly increase times 12. And then this is our fiscal impact. It's going to cost us about $660,000. But like Dr. Peterson mentioned, it's now covering also your dental and vision if they were to get, employee only for dental and vision for themselves. It covers 4 out of 6 plans. And then the employee plus spouse, as it gets more expensive, obviously we can't cover 100%, but 2 out of 6 plans, it covers 100%. Same with employee children. And then for employee plus family, it covers 100% of one of the health plans. Obviously the the higher you go into this tiers, down at the bottom, the more expensive these plans are. So that's about it for us, and we're just hoping for approval. I'll go ahead and entertain any questions that you might have.
Yes, Jack.
Yes, I strongly support the personnel item on benefits. I have a question. Do we have any data on how this change will compare with our surrounding school districts and the programs that they're offering?
Yes, we have done analysis compared to our surrounding districts, and we're very competitive. We're actually higher than most of the districts surrounding us. I know our Director of Human Resources, Laura Berrigan, has that analysis, and we have looked at our surrounding districts. So very competitive, if not higher.
Good. If you could just at some time forward that to me, I'd like to take a look at it. But I think it's a great recruiting tool because given that, as we can see the numbers there on the cost of fringe benefits, it's an area in which if we stand out, I think it will serve us well.
Yeah, and most districts have caps on their benefits, and so we're constantly reviewing that yearly and giving our employees a piece of the share of whatever it's increasing. But this year there was a lot of savings, so people should be able to see a reflection in their paycheck.
Mr. Meyer. Oh, Mark. Okay. Mark.
I'm sorry, Lily. Amira, I just wanted to ask, how many insurance firms do we try to review as far as for a competitive comparison?
So Keenan is the one that does that work on our behalf. That's why we work with him, and they look at pooled data to be able to get us the best rate. So they really do look at the utilization and also comparing to other people that are within Keenan. So that's how those rates are derived. Is
we've traditionally stayed with two, Kaiser and another option, because they do have requirements for a certain level of participation in order to give us the rates they give us. And so if you spread it too thin, you can't get the participation numbers, then those rates go up for all the programs.
Thank you.
Mr. Meyer, I heard one statement as you were talking, you said something about one-time money. Were you utilizing one-time money for some of this or not?
No, I think I was just iterating the amount of money that we're getting at the moment and increases that we're seeing in our LCFF. So obviously this would be for ongoing revenue that we would be utilizing for this.
That's what I wanted to make sure. Okay. Any other comments, questions? I think we have to have a motion at this point to accept the health and other insurance benefits for employer contributions. I will entertain a motion at this point. Do I see I have a board members? Yes, Bruce.
I'll move approval to the item.
Thank you. Mark.
I'll second it.
Thank you. It has been moved in second. And now roll call. Mark Anderson.
Yes.
Harry Block.
Yes.
Bruce Mandrick.
Yes.
Jack Turner.
Yes.
Lily Campbell, yes. Unanimously approved for the new health and other benefits program. Thank you for your time and energy. And I know all of our staff members will be very happy to see the plan. Thank you. All right. We have concluded our business. And now we're down to board comments. Any board comments? Now open for board comments. Yes, Harry.
You know, I've been very quiet tonight because I've been running over since 8 o'clock this morning. And I got back home late in order to get to the board meeting. And one of the things I did today, I was trying to get a student into futures, but the 9th grade, 10th grade failed. I didn't know that. So I had to take him somewhere else.
Hmm.
We lost a student today, so
Oh,
I was trying to get as many kids as I can into the system. So I'm still out there running.
well, thank you.
Thank you,
But
Harry.
it's a long day for me today. So
All right. Well, we're just glad you're here with us.
yes,
And I
ma'am.
know if you had some comments, you would have had them. So we thank you for being here and part of our board meeting. All right. Did I see other hands? Yes, Bruce and Jack. Bruce?
I think the best news of the week is the fact that our enrollment is doing very well against all odds of other school districts in the state of California. I think that's a real tribute to the administrators we see on the screen right now at the school sites. It's a real tribute to staff across the board that in spite of COVID and everything else going on, we still have
Yes.
increasing enrollment.
Thank you. I agree. Okay, Jack.
Well, I certainly will second what Bruce said on enrollment. And I just want to say it's really nice to see the board and the staff again after 5 days or so. I can get used to this. And I understand we have another board meeting coming up soon. So I hope to see everyone then.
Thank you. Not too soon. Okay. Any other comments?
Did you say in person, Jack? Did you say in person?
In person, yes.
Yeah, you know,
Yes.
I maybe regret saying this, but yes, it would be nice whenever we feel comfortable or whenever the restrictions are lifted that we get back and kind of function in person.
In person.
But I will say this again, I've been shopping around for the new booster, and it's been really hard to get the Moderna because I don't know, there seems to be a shortage of it, but the pandemic certainly hasn't gone away. But I'm going to try to get vaccinated up but I certainly don't want to get back together and put anyone at risk and so forth. So I think that's discretion at this point is really, really very important.
Yeah, we're trying to get our booster again too. It'll be the third one. So we're working on that also. Any other comments from board members? Any other comments from staff? Mr. Sample, you've been very quiet tonight. Thank you for being here.
I've worn him out. That's
You
what it
worn him
is.
out.
I've worn him out. He's been running like crazy days on end. And he's definitely been pulling his weight and then some. And I definitely want to, I know we've affirmed Miss O'Meara and her team, but
Yes.
certainly Dr. Gold and Mr. Elliott have
Mr. Elliott.
also have been running like crazy. They were a key part of that central office retreat that we had on Friday. They're out at the sites. They're supporting our sites. They're mentoring, they're running programs, and none of this could be happening without them. So I definitely want to affirm them for that.
Thank you for that. And also, Mr. Marco, thank you for making sure that we are online and everything is working. We just appreciate all of you. Let's just put it that way. We thank you for your hard work. We thank you for your integrity and all of the things you do day by day, hour by hour. So thank you. And so with that announcement of the next board meeting, Jack, when we're going to meet again soon. Miss Amara, our next board meeting?
Miss Melissa, what is our next
September
board meeting?
27th.
Did I say Miss Amara? No, Miss Melissa. September the 27th. I'm looking at you and calling you Miss Amara. We've been talking about her so much. And so with that, we will, any other closing comments for the good of the organization? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment. Yes, Mark.
So moved.
So moved. And a second by Mr. Turner.
Second.
All in